The Oregon legislature has been key in being able to make our projects come together, not only in terms of being able to provide leadership, but being able to provide the resources necessary for us to be able to pay for these projects or to pay for the operation over time. Because it's not just about building them, we have to run them too, and we have to run them over time. And that has been absolutely key. The legislature has stepped up to that mark repeatedly. But the two individuals you're going to hear from next have been really leaders in that. We are in State Senator Jenny Burdick's district, and we are in Majority Leader, State Representative Mary Nolan's district as well. Their work to be able to secure in the last legislative session, the 2007 legislative session, the down payment on being able to move ahead with the Portland to Milwaukee light rail is absolutely key. But their support for legislation that allows us to be able to operate these lines has also been absolutely key. Please welcome Majority Leader Mary Nolan and State Senator Jenny Burdick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There was a time, and I think there still are places, where transit is considered alternative transportation. Kind of fringy, kind of weird, out there, not really grown up, not really something you can count on, but sort of a distraction. Way back in the 20th century, that's the way we even looked at things. But in Portland, in Oregon, in the 21st century, we know that transit is a fundamental part of how our communities define ourselves, how we partner businesses and local communities, universities, and Head Start programs, jobs, and recreational opportunities. I'm going to encourage you to think of today not so much as a celebration of some rails and some very nice cars, but more as a coming of age of our community. This is how we define ourselves. This is how we will grow together as a community and as a state. To create communities and neighborhoods and industrial areas and downtowns and parks that give us not only a reason to feel like we belong here, but like the future is very bright, very open, and ours to define. We have invested a significant amount of money in this line and in the 52 miles that we have around the region. And we have already made commitments to invest more. But those are truly investments that we should think of as having returned a tremendous benefit for our community. If you look at those 52 miles of transit that we have, of light rail system, they have provoked $8 billion. Yes, with a B, $8 billion of private investment in homes, in condos, in shopping areas, in industrial areas, in research labs where we are creating commercial ideas for the 21st century. That's how we do things. That's mainstream. That's about us. And we will lead the way, Mr. Administrator, and continue to help you show other communities around the country how to do it, because it works here, we know it works here, and we welcome the rest of the country to follow our lead. Senator Berman.
Thank you very much, and welcome to my district. We have a beautiful day here. It reminds me of the very first MAX opening, which I attended, and so did Mr. Bragdon, Mr. Blumenauer here. And we really have to think back to fully appreciate how we got here today. When the first MAX line opened up to Gresham, it was the result of the death of a freeway. Killing freeways was not a popular thing to do in those days in the mid-'80s. And there was so much skepticism about it, so much doubt, so many naysayers. Those of you who laugh at this will show your age, but they actually called it in a political campaign, whoops on wheels. It had so much skepticism. And then the next step along the way, when we moved west, it seemed like a technological impossibility to basically drill through the West Hills. There was a machine called, I think it was Bodacious, or they called it Beauregard that drilled 1 foot per day, as I recall. So here we are today. It is music to my ears to hear people say, the mayors are after me. Mr. Rogoff saying that, 12 mayors have come up to him. I want to be next. I want to be next. Baby, things have changed. And I also happen to have in my Senate district the city of Tigard. And the city of Tigard is looking good right now. The odds are looking good for the city of Tigard. I will have to tell you, representing the city of Tigard and working with the people there, I'd say it was typical of what is going on around this region. The excitement, the feeling of potential, the buying into not just cars on rails, but the buying into the bigger vision of livability, of reducing greenhouse gases, of staying connected from one community to another, and having our family lives and not being so car dependent. So by buying into that as a regional goal is just, it's a miracle. I mean, looking at it from the perspective of 20 years ago, it's a miracle. We've come a long way. We've got a long way to go, and today is a wonderful, wonderful celebration to mark a very important landmark.
Thanks, Mary, and thanks, Jenny.